I'm going to read you a passage from my book, From Depression to Destiny. This is on page 86, and true story. So here's how that trauma showed up, or that unhealed trauma showed up in my life, rather. There was a woman that I thoroughly loved. No one could have convinced me that I was not going to marry this woman. When I gazed upon her, she would always inquire, "What are you staring at?" When God created her, he was having the time of his life. She was his meticulous commitment to craftsmanship. She was beautifully rendered and flawlessly finished. She was visually arresting. Not to stare would be an insult. She was an offer worth investigating, and I was drawn to her frame like fire to a flame. Her sweetness was indeed my weakness. Our conversations were more like a spiritual dance. We discussed the magnificent and the mundane as we engaged in intellectual foreplay. I told all my friends of my intention to marry her, and I moved from New Jersey to Florida to be closer to her. Our relationship was beautiful. We spent blissful hours on the beach enjoying the beautiful Floridian sunsets. She was working full-time and going back to the university at night to earn her degree. I admired her ambition. We would go to see Anita Baker and Beres Hammond in concert. We both loved to laugh, so we would go to the Improv and have the time of our lives. We both shared a Caribbean heritage, so we enjoyed the same music and the same foods. On Friday night, we would go to the Jamaican restaurant and stuff herself with steamed snapper, jerk chicken, and roast breadfruit while listening to Bob Marley and Buju Banton drop some serious reggae. She was without a doubt the missing variable in my perfect equation. There was only one source of tension. Whenever we disagreed, she became belligerent. She would yell and curse. Her entire physiology would become tense as she prepared for an all-out war. She became very disrespectful and said things that she would later claim to regret. She argued with unusual tenacity. Her verbiage was vulgar. Her vernacular, vile and vicious. Her dialogue was demeaning, debasing, and degrading. She held on to emotional residue of what I considered to be petty misunderstanding for days, sometimes weeks. I knew that she was not lashing out at me, but instead, she was still hanging on to the pain of past hurt. So she painted with a broad brush and took no prisoners. Her issues were seldom with me, but they were always with Black men. And though I'm trying to be more Christ-like, I felt no need to be crucified for the perceived sins of a race of men. I grew up in a household where my dad would come home and go on one of his tirades. He would become extremely combative as he yelled to us for what seemed like hours at a time. His words would lacerate our pride. And my mom, broken from the stress, would in turn emotionally berate us. The environment was so deeply depressing and toxic that I made a conscious decision that such a lifestyle would not work for me. I would not argue. It brought me no joy. Arguments sapped the very energy of my soul. And even though I'm by no means a pacifist, my first instinct is to always walk away. If we can't calmly talk our way through our differences at this moment, then let's just be silent for a while and discuss it later. She interpreted my silence to be indifference, which only served to ignite her anger and fuel her fire. I was aware that the person who does not understand your silence very seldom understood your words. So I was very adamant in my decision not to be disrespectful. However, I was equally steadfast in my decision not to be disrespected. I explained to baby in no uncertain terms. I said, "Baby, I'm not going to tolerate your incivility. Either you choose to gain control over your tongue, or I will choose to be someplace where I won't have to hear your tongue." She replied, "I can't help it. I get agitated and then stuff just comes out." Bullshit. Her explanation was not only inadequate, it was unacceptable. I calmly responded, "Baby, to say you can't help yourself is not a truthful statement. You're upset at your boss a lot, yet you never cursed or screamed at him. You've never spoken to him with contempt or disdain. You choose to control your tongue because you need that paycheck. If you can learn to control your tongue for a paycheck that has no feelings, then is it possible that you could exercise that same level of control over your tongue for a feeling, caring human being? I understand that a relationship is all about compromise, but me being treated with a certain level of dignity was non-negotiable. I believe in going where I'm celebrated, not where I'm tolerated. In the end, she chose not to mince her words, and I chose not to be minced by her words, as they say on Shark Tank. And for that reason, I'm out. So this person, just like my mom, was a beautiful person and still is still a beautiful person. And she wants the same results that my mom wanted. She wants to be loved. She wants to be accepted. But just like my mom, very unwilling to take accountability for her behavior. When someone tells you, oh, I just can't help it, that's just another way of saying, oh, Kurt, this shit is going to continue. Please believe me. Because they can help it when it comes to their boss. They can help it when it comes to something that they respect. But in the relationship, oh, I have to respect you. I can talk to you any sort of way. So until she heals that part of her and start taking accountability, she's just going to keep attracting the same person over and over. Now, what's my role in all of this? Until I heal that need to be loved and accepted by my mom, because again, she had mad issues with men and had issues with me as well, I will keep attracting my mom over and over. This woman was exactly my mom. So I had to step away and start working on me and accepting me and loving me for who I am and where I am, and being a better person, and just start healing different areas that I realized they kept showing up in relationships, because the lesson repeats until the lesson is learned. So once you can learn to put your ego aside and listen to the feedback that you're getting from the person you're in the relationship, because a relationship is usually one of the most intense classrooms that we have on this earth. Intimate relationships are very exposing classrooms. So I had to step back and say, why am I keep attracting my mom? I keep attracting my mom because I have unresolved issues within myself where I'm looking for this outside love. I'm looking for this outside acceptance that not only am I not getting, I'm never going to get. My mom is gone. So I have to learn now to accept me and love me unconditionally. And what I mean by that is not walking and leading with my issues and my faults, but realizing that, okay, Kirk, these are areas that you need to work on. These are areas that you need to heal. When I'm in a relationship and it's not going the way that I want, or it doesn't work, I always step back. I take myself off the dating scene for at least a year, and I step back and examine, okay, Kirk Nugent, what was your role in this? How did you show up? How did you play? How did you show up in a healed manner and in an unhealed manner? And the next time, what will you do differently? And what would you continue to do? What worked and what didn't work? And I take an assessment and I hold myself accountable. So if we could start doing that, just being accountable, listening to the feedback that we're getting and that the universe, the world is showing us, and taking accountability and then moving forward. But a lot of times when people get hurt in relationships, instead of stepping back and healing, they jump right into someone else's bed. And they go from bed to bed to bed without taking any assessment of what they bring to the table, what's their role in this dysfunction, and they just try to sleep their way through the pain. And then that doesn't work, and then they show up in someone else's life, and the lesson repeats until the lesson is learned. So I'm saying, pause with the sexual transactions that you're doing and go within and heal that. And once you heal that, you don't have to go out and looking for love. Love will find you. I mean, people just come and, oh my God, Kirk Nugent. Oh, Kirk Nugent. Kirk. Yeah, because I'm healed. You know, I got that glow, baby. So yeah, you could get that glow yourself. Just go in and do the work. All right. So I'm out. Take care.